Okay, so we're practicing more about on weathering and erosion. You guys have done something similar to this in your journals. We wrote weathering and the definition, erosion and the definition. We drew pictures to go with it. So weathering, who can tell me a good definition for weathering? Allie?
It breaks rocks.
Good. Breaks or wears down rock or any type of rock formation like a cave, a sidewalk. This formation, you might see like a big rock formation out in the desert, and it leaves this gap in there because the wind has blown rocks and sand and sediment up against it, and it eventually wears it away to where there's this funky shape. Water can also cause weathering. It can get inside of rock cracks, freeze, and then when water freezes, it expands, right?
Yes.
So when that water freezes and starts to expand, it will crack the rock. Okay? Same thing with tree roots. If they come up and start growing up into the sidewalk, what's going to happen to the sidewalk?
It will crack.
It will crack, okay? A cave is formed by water that has gone underground, and it eventually wears away the stone, right, leaving a gap. So it leaves a cave behind. So, what is the difference now from erosion? This is breaking down rock. Erosion is going to do what, Kelsey?
Erosion is when something like sand, like if there's a sandstorm, it flies away.
Okay, so actually it's going to be moved away somehow. So we think of it as like a broom being swept away. So I drew wind blowing sand to form a sand dune. So if my sand was over here nice and flat on the ground, it's being blown into a pile that now forms this little hill. It's called a sand dune. Okay? What else could you have drawn in your notebook to represent erosion? Kaylee?
I draw leaves flying away.
Okay. Leaves flying away. What about the ocean waves?
Yeah.
What does the ocean do to the sand? It does what, Bryson?
The ocean, it hits it really hard, and then it blows like the wind, because the wind's like, it's like this.
Every time those waves go in and out, it's pushing sand. It's moving the sand to make a what? Where do we like to lay out at? At the
Beach.
The beach. So the ocean waves are picking up little pieces of rock or sediment at the bottom of the ocean or dirt, and it's bringing it to land where you have a beach formed. Okay, that's erosion.
Oh, so that's
The
how
waves,
it
yes, the waves are moving the land, so that's erosion, how a beach is formed. Okay.
So all the dirt in the bottom of the lake gets pushed up on land, and then it dries.
Mhm.
I didn't know that. That's probably
Yep.
why you get so much sand in your mouth whenever you.
Yeah. So when a river is running through, and y'all know at the bottom of the river there's what?
Sand and fish.
There's lots of rocks. So maybe that river eventually carries rocks and dumps them out at the bottom of the river, the mouth of the river. So a river can move rocks, rain, If you have a garden or a flower bed, if you get too much rain, what's going to happen to the soil?
It will turn into it will be like it'll be so soaking wet.
It will be soaking wet, but sometimes it makes it move and wash away, right? And you may have to put more soil down,
And then that'll be weather.
especially if there's no plants or shrubs, because the plants and shrubs help hold the soil in place. So erosion is moving sediment away, or rock or sand, soil. Weathering is breaking or wearing it down, making it weaker. Okay? So I want you to flip the page now. I used markers, so I'm not going to use the back, but you guys use colors. You should be able to use the back. I'm going to use a new page since I used marker. You can't see. Okay, we're going to make a chart, a T chart. So draw a line, and then I want you to do the best you can to cut it in half. Does not have to be perfect. And one side we're going to have weathering. The other side we're going to have erosion.
That's pretty straight.
Okay. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to give you different situations. And you're going to have to tell me whether it's weathering or erosion. If it's weathering, then you're going to write it over here on this side. If it's erosion, then we're going to write it on this side. Okay, we ready? First one. Tree and plant roots dig into cracks in rocks, and as they grow, they pry the rock apart. What do you think, Aaliyah? Weathering, good. Nothing is being moved, but something is breaking or getting weaker. So if a tree and plant roots dig into cracks in rocks, and they grow so that the rock eventually breaks, that is what, Bryson?
Weathering.
Weathering, good. So I'm going to help you shorten this so we don't have to write that whole sentence. So roots grow into rocks and crack them. And I'm just writing big so y'all can read it. You guys don't have to write that big. Grow into rocks and crack them.
Yeah, you're writing what we should be writing in capital.
Okay? So that's an example of weathering. You ready for the next one?
Yes.
Okay. This time I don't want you to shout it out. I want you to just get the answer in your head, and I'm going to let everybody call out the answer at one time. Rainwater washes away soil and moves it downhill. Just think of the answer in your head. Think of the definitions we've been going over. So if rainwater washes away soil and moves it downhill, what do you think that is? Yeah. We got our answer? Thumbs up if you know. Thumbs up, Javea? You don't have to write it yet. Okay, everybody, tell me your answer.
Erosion.
Very good. So let's write that on the erosion side. Rain washes away soil. Very good. So the next one, wind picks up sediment and carries it to another location, we said was what, class?
Erosion.
Erosion, because it's being moved, right? So we could say wind carries sediment away, and I'm just trying to shorten it so we don't have to write the whole thing. To a new location. Wind carries sediment away. And sediment is just a word for rocks and dirt, small pieces. Okay, we got it?
Yes.
Here's your next one. Wind carves, that's a V, carves arches when it blows rock or sand against other rock formations. So think about it. Is it moving anything or is it just wearing it down? Don't shout it out. Don't shout it out. Wind carves arches when it blows rock or sand against other rock formations. We got our answer. Thumbs up if you have your answer. Not sure, Jabea? Is it moving anything or is it just wearing it down? Is it moving something to a new location? Or is it talking more about how things are being worn down to make a new shape? Okay, so what do you think it is, class?
Weathering.
Good. It's talking about how it's carving out an arch. So when it does that, it's wearing it down or breaking it down. So wind carves arches by blowing rock against it. Okay, here's the next one. Caves are formed when water dissolves or wears down limestone underground. Caves are formed when water dissolves or wears down limestone underground. Okay, thumbs up if you know it. Okay, what is it?
Weathering.
Weathering, good. It's wearing down, so that's key word. If you see wears down, that's weathering. Caves formed when water wears down limestone. Limestone is just a type of rock. Caves formed when water wears down limestone. That's an example of weathering. Gravity pulls rocks that have broken downhill. So think of like gravity pulling rocks broken off a cliff or mountain to a new place downhill at the bottom of the mountain. Gravity pulls rocks that have broken downhill. Would that be weathering or erosion? Got your answer? What do we think, class?
Erosion.
Good. Erosion, because the gravity is moving the rock downhill. So if it's being moved to a new location, that's erosion. Okay, we've got about 4 more. Rainwater dissolves minerals in rock, wearing them down. Okay, so what is our answer if it's wearing down the rock?
It's weathering.
Weathering, good. So rainwater dissolves minerals in rock and wears them down. Okay? So we'll just say rain wears down rock. Have y'all ever picked up a rock out of a river?
Yes.
Have you noticed how smooth they are?
Yes.
Why would they be smoother than a rock that's just on dry land?
Because it's wet.
Kelsey?
Because it was in water, and also the erosion, it blew the rock into the river.
Okay, maybe. But the reason the rock is so smooth is because that flowing water is doing what?
It's wearing out the rock.
Wearing it down to where those rough, rocky edges are smooth now. It's just basically like it's polishing the rock. Okay? Yeah. Okay, next one. Water gets into cracks in rocks, freezes, and expands, weakening or cracking the rock. So when water freezes inside of a rock and expands, it starts to crack the rock. So what would that be? Okay, what is it, class?
Weathering.
Good. Okay, so frozen, rain, cracks, rocks, when it gets inside. I'm not going to make y'all write all that because you get the idea. Frozen rain will get inside the rock, expand, and make it crack. Okay? When soil or rock sediment are moved. When soil or rock sediment are moved. All right, what is it?
Erosion.
Erosion, good. When rocks are broken down. When rocks are broken down. What is it?
Weathering.
Good.
Wait, I've always been weathering. Everyone says weathering.
Lots of weathering examples. Okay, now I want you guys to come up with one example of erosion on your own. One example of erosion. So think of something moving, land, or rock.
It has to be rock.
We've done other examples on our drawing that we talked about a few seconds ago. So if you think of erosion, how is it moving sand, soil, rock away to a different location? Okay, I'll give you a minute. Okay, who has an example they want to read to the class for erosion? Javea? When, okay, say the first part again. Wind pushes the rock or waves? I couldn't hear you. Say it again. Liquids move rock to a new location. Okay, good. What else, Allie?
The ocean travels rocks place to place.
Okay, good. So the ocean moves rocks from place to place. Good. It can move rock at the bottom of the ocean, move it to the shore, move sand to the shore to form a beach. Anybody else have something they want to share? No? That's it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just add the one about the beach. So waves move sand to form a beach. Is that what you had too, Brandon?
I got the same one like that one.
Okay, good. All right, so that's weathering and erosion. Tomorrow you will do one final assessment or assignment on everything we've learned. I will probably let you use this journal entry, your picture, and your chart that we just made. So make sure you have all these examples written down so you can use them to help you tomorrow. Okay?